Have you ever held a penny in your hand and wondered, could this tiny coin be worth thousands, even hundreds of thousands of dollars? What if I told you that one of the most valuable coins in American history is sitting quietly in old drawers, forgotten piggy banks, or tucked away in dusty jars? Yes, we're talking about the legendary 1969 Lincoln 1-cent coin, a small copper coin with a massive story. This is not just any ordinary penny. Some versions of this 1969 cent have sold for as much as $126,500, and there are only a few known examples. Could yours be next? Stay with me as we dive deep into the value, history, varieties, minting errors, and why collectors around the world are chasing after this little coin with big secrets. This is the story of the 1969 Lincoln penny. Segment 1: Background and history of the 1969 Lincoln cent. Let's rewind the clock. The year is 1969. America is booming with events: the moon landing, Woodstock, and protests across the country. While history was being made on the world stage, something small but significant was happening at the U.S. Mint. In 1969, the United States continued the long tradition of the Lincoln penny, which had first been introduced in 1909 to commemorate President Abraham Lincoln's 100th birthday. The reverse still featured the iconic Lincoln Memorial, introduced in 1959 to replace the earlier wheat ears design. The obverse or front of the coin shows the familiar profile of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner, while the reverse was designed by Frank Gasparo. Now, here's the kicker: in 1969, millions of pennies were produced. Over 1.1 billion coins to be exact. So why are some of them worth a fortune? The answer lies in a rare and fascinating minting error. Segment 2: The rare double die obverse. A coin worth thousands in the world of coin collecting. One word can change everything. Error. In 1969, a small number of pennies struck at the Philadelphia Mint featured what's called a double die obverse, or DDO. This means that during the minting process, the coin's image was struck more than once, slightly off alignment, creating a noticeable doubling effect, especially in the inscriptions. If you look closely at one of these rare coins, you'll see clear doubling in the words, "Liberty in God We Trust," and the date, 1969. But here's where it gets really crazy: this isn't just any double die. It's one of the most dramatic and valuable double die errors in U.S. history. Only a few of these coins exist, and when they show up at auction, collectors go absolutely wild. In fact, a certified example of the 1969 S double die obverse penny, yes, with an S mint mark from San Francisco, sold for $126,500 at auction. And here's the amazing part. It was just a regular penny in someone's change jar until they noticed the doubling and sent it in for grading. Segment 3: How to identify the valuable 1969 penny. So, now you're probably wondering, do I have one of these valuable pennies? Here's how to find out. Point 1. Look at the mint mark. The most valuable double die examples from 1969 have an S below the date for the San Francisco Mint. Point 2. Check for doubling. Look at the inscriptions, especially Liberty, Indiana God We Trust, and the date. If you see clear, strong doubling, not just a blurry shadow, you might have something special. Point 3. Use a magnifier. A good coin magnifying glass will help you spot those tiny details that can be worth thousands. Point 4. Get it graded. If you think you've found a 1969 S double die obverse, do not clean it. Send it to a professional coin grading service like Pcgs or NGC. They'll authenticate and certify it. Remember, these coins are rare, only a few dozen have been officially discovered. But who's to say you won't be the next lucky finder? Segment 4: Current market value and sales data. Now let's talk numbers. A standard, circulated 1969 Lincoln penny without any errors is worth about 1 cent. That's face value. In uncirculated condition, maybe a few cents more to collectors. But the 1969 S double die obverse in certified condition, these can range from $10,000 to over $100,000, depending on condition and rarity. Let's look at some real-world sales. In 2008, a specimen graded MS64 red by Pcgs sold for $126,500. Another example, an MS63 red condition, sold for $54,625. Even coins with lower grades, like 55 Australian dollars, can bring in $10,000, $15,000. So yes, this penny could change your life. Segment 5: Other 1969 varieties and errors. While the 1969 S double die is the most famous, There are other varieties worth looking out for. These are common, but if found in brilliant uncirculated or proof-like condition, they might fetch $5 to $25 from collectors. These are also common, but flawless examples can sell for a few dollars. Off-center strikes, clipped planchets, or blockage errors from 1969 are also collectible, some selling for $50 to $500, depending on the severity of the error. So don't ignore any 1969 penny. You never know what hidden treasure you might be holding. Segment 6: Tips for collectors and treasure hunters ready to search for the next valuable penny. Here's what you need to do. Check every 1969 penny you come across. Use good lighting and a magnifier to inspect the lettering and date. Learn about coin grading. The better the condition, the more it's worth. Store your coins properly to avoid damage. And most importantly, never clean your coins. It reduces their value. Coins with historical errors are like rare diamonds in a sea of rocks. They're scarce, precious, and always in demand. So, the next time you find a penny on the ground, pick it up. Take a second look. That tiny copper coin might just be the 1969 double die that changes your life. What would you do if you found a coin worth $100,000 in your pocket change? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss another coin treasure story like this. Because every coin has a story, and sometimes it's worth more than gold. Thanks for watching and happy coin hunting. Dear coin collectors and treasure hunters. Now we're diving deep into the world of American coinage history to uncover the story of a small copper coin that might be hiding a big secret in your pocket change or coin jar. Yes, we're talking about the 1971 D. Lincoln 1-cent coin, a humble penny with a bold history. It might be worth only 1 cent on paper, but what if I told you that some of these pennies have sold for hundreds, and in rare cases, even thousands of dollars. So if you've got a jar of old coins lying around, you'll definitely want to stick around because you could be sitting on a tiny copper fortune without even realizing it. Let's jump into the fascinating story of the 1971 D. Lincoln cent, its design, its historical context, rare errors, and its market value today. Grab your magnifying glass, because we're going in deep. Section 1. Historical background. Let's rewind the clock back to 1971. The United States was in the midst of political and economic change. The Vietnam War was ongoing, the dollar was beginning to shift from the gold standard, and inflation was slowly creeping into everyday life. Amid all of this, millions of Americans were handling one common item daily: the Lincoln cent, a coin that had already been circulating since 1909, designed to honor the great President Abraham Lincoln. The 1971 D penny is part of the Lincoln Memorial Cent series, which ran from 1959 to 2008. On the obverse, or front, is Lincoln's dignified profile, a timeless design by Victor David Brenner, unchanged since the coin's introduction. But flip the coin over, and you'll see the Lincoln Memorial, the reverse design created by Frank Gasparo in 1959. This was meant to honor Lincoln's legacy even further, with a detailed image of the Memorial Building in Washington, D.C. If you look closely, you can even see Lincoln seated between the columns. The D Mint mark just below the date stands for the Denver Mint, which produced over 2.5 billion of these coins in 1971. That's right, billion with a B. So, with that many coins produced, you might be asking, what makes this coin so special? Let's find out. Section 2. Composition and Design. Details. The 1971 D Lincoln cent was made primarily of 95% copper and 5% zinc. That means each penny has a bit of intrinsic metal value, more than 1 cent worth of copper at today's prices. This makes it interesting to metal scrappers, collectors, and investors alike. It weighs 3.11 grams, and its diameter is 19 millimeters. Its iconic reddish-brown color can fade or darken with age, and pennies in uncirculated condition often have a beautiful luster. The obverse features Lincoln facing right, with the inscription "I in God we trust" arched above, Liberty to the left, and the date 1971 to the right, along with the D Mint mark. The reverse features United States of America across the top, E Pluribus Unum beneath that, and the Lincoln Memorial dominating the center, with 1 cent in bold across the bottom. Now let's talk about value and why this tiny coin might be worth far more than just a single cent. Section 3. Rarities and error. Varieties. Although 2.5 billion coins were struck, not all 1971 D Lincoln pennies are created equal. Some rare errors and varieties have turned ordinary-looking pennies into valuable collectibles. Let's take a look at the most valuable varieties. This is where things get exciting. Some 1971 cents have what's called a doubled die, an error that occurs during the minting process when the die imprints a doubled image onto the coin. On these error coins, you'll notice doubled letters in Liberty, Indiana, God We Trust, and sometimes even the date itself. Collectors go crazy for doubled dies. Some of these rare 1971 doubled die pennies have sold for hundreds of dollars, depending on the clarity of the doubling and the coin's condition. These coins are misaligned when struck, causing the image to appear off-center. A 1971 penny that is 50% off-center and still shows the full date and mint mark can sell for $50 to $150, sometimes even more. Die cracks are small raised lines caused by breaks in the die. The BIE error is a popular variety where a die crack forms between the letters B and E in Liberty, making it look like the word Liberty. These can fetch between $5 and $20, depending on severity. Even without errors, if your 1971 penny is in mint state graded MS65 or higher, it could be worth $10 to $50 or more. One pristine example graded MS67 read by Pcgs sold at auction for nearly $2,000. Section 4. Current market value as of today. A regular 1971 Lincoln cent in circulated condition is still worth about 1 cent, maybe 2 cents for copper value. But here's where it gets good. The current average market value for 1971 pennies in uncirculated condition starts around 15 cents to 50 cents, and with errors or high grading, they can leap up to $100, $500, even over $1,000 for the right coin. Collectors and investors are actively buying these coins on platforms like eBay, heritage auctions, and coin shows. And because of rising copper prices and renewed interest in vintage coins, even basic 1971 pennies are increasing in demand. You might think this is just a common coin, but depending on its condition, grade, and any errors it might have, it could be a hidden gem just waiting to be discovered. Section 5. How to check your 1971 PNNY if you've got one of these coins. Here's what to do next. 1. Examine it under good lighting, preferably with a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe. Look closely at Liberty, the date, and the motto for signs of doubling. 2. Check for off-center strikes or die cracks. Any irregularities could increase value. 3. Weigh your coin. It should be about 3.11 grams. Anything significantly off might indicate a rare wrong planchet error. 4. Compare its condition to a grading chart. Uncirculated coins with full details and minimal marks can be worth sending in to Pcgs or NGC for professional grading. 5. Consider copper value. Even in bulk, these copper pennies can be sold to dealers for more than face value, especially in large quantities. So there you have it. The 1971 Lincoln 1 cent coin might seem like pocket change, but it carries with it a rich history, collectible value, and a real possibility of being worth a lot more than a penny. It's living proof that sometimes the smallest things can have the biggest stories. Got any 1971 pennies lying around? Go check your drawers, jars, and old wallets. You never know what treasure you might be sitting on. If you found this video helpful or inspiring, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you never miss a coin collecting tip, value reveal, or rare coin spotlight. Share your finds in the comments. We'd love to see what hidden gems you've discovered. Thanks for watching, and as always, happy collecting. Did you know that a simple 1981 Lincoln penny, yes, the humble 1 cent coin sitting in your change jar, could actually be worth a lot more than just 1 cent? In fact, some of these coins have sold for hundreds, even thousands of dollars. Today, we're diving deep into the world of the 1981 Lincoln penny, uncovering its fascinating history, rare varieties, and current market value. So grab your coin jar and let's find out if you're holding onto a hidden treasure. Section 1. The story behind the 1981 Lincoln penny. Let's rewind the clock to 1981, a year full of pop culture, change, and coinage history. The Lincoln cent, featuring the profile of President Abraham Lincoln, had already been in circulation for over 70 years. First introduced in 1909 to mark Lincoln's 100th birthday, the penny was designed by Victor David Brenner and quickly became a staple in American pockets. By 1981, the Lincoln penny was still being struck in 95% copper and 5% zinc, a composition that had been in use for decades. But big changes were just around the corner. Due to rising copper prices, 1982 would mark the switch to a cheaper zinc core with a thin copper plating. That makes the 1981 penny one of the last true copper pennies ever made, and collectors love that. Not only was it the end of an era for copper coins, but the 1981 penny was also minted in large quantities, making it widely circulated. However, some rare varieties and minting errors from this year are what make the coin incredibly valuable today. Section 2. Where was it made? The 1981 Lincoln penny was struck in 3 different locations: Philadelphia Mint no mint mark, Denver Mint marked with a D, San Francisco Mint marked with an S, and usually proof coins over 13 billion 1981 pennies were minted across all 3 facilities. That's a lot. But not all of them are created equal. Certain mint marks and variations can skyrocket the value of this humble coin. Section 3. Valuable varieties and errors to watch out for. Here's where things get exciting. Even though billions were made, only a few 1981 pennies are worth big money, and it's all about the details. Point 1. 1981 S Type 1 and Type 2 proof varieties. The San Francisco Mint struck proof coins in 1981, and they exist in 2 types. Type 1 has a filled S mint mark. Type 2 has a clearer, more defined S, and it's rarer. If you have a 1981 S Type 2 proof penny in pristine condition, it could fetch $100 to $500 or more, depending on its grade. Point 2. Double die errors. These are some of the most sought after error coins. A double die means the coin was struck with a die that had a misalignment, causing the design to appear doubled. Check the date, the word Liberty, and I in God we trust for signs of doubling. Some double die pennies from this year have sold for over $250 at auction. Point 3. Off-center strikes and die cracks. A penny that struck off-center, or one that shows visible cracks or extra metal blobs called cuds, can also be valuable. Depending on how dramatic the error is, these coins can sell for $50 to several $100s. Point 4. Full red gem coins. MS65 and higher in coin collecting, red pennies that have retained their full original color are prized above all. A 1981 penny graded MS67 red mint state has sold for as high as $2,500. Section 4. Current market value. What are they worth today? Now, let's talk numbers. The average 1981 Lincoln penny you find in change is probably worth just 1 cent unless it's in exceptional condition. But here's a breakdown of what they're selling for right now. Circulated condition still face value 1 cent. Uncirculated condition MS60 to MS63 between 10 cents and $1. Mint state red MS65 and above $10 to $50 plus proof 1981 S Type 2 in PR67 or PR69 $100 to $400 plus rare error coins and doubled dies $250 to $2,500 plus in the market value today. According to coin dealers and collectors, a common 1981 penny in high grade can fetch around $0.191, nearly 19 times its face value. That's a pretty good return on a coin most people overlook. Section 5. How to identify and preserve your penny. Want to know if your 1981 penny is valuable? Here's what you should do. 1. Examine the coin under a magnifying glass. Look closely at the lettering, the date, and the mint mark. Any doubling or errors. Point 2. Check the color. Is it a full red copper tone? That's a good sign. Point 3. Weigh it. A genuine copper 1981 penny should weigh 3.11 grams. If it weighs less, it might be a fake or post-1982 zinc penny. Point 4. Get it graded. If you think your penny is rare or in pristine condition, have it professionally graded by a service like Pcgs or NGC. Point 5. Store it properly. Use a coin holder or airtight container to prevent damage and tarnishing. Section 6. Is it worth collecting? Absolutely. The 1981 Lincoln penny is a fascinating coin for beginners and seasoned collectors alike. It's historically significant as one of the last copper cents, has several valuable varieties, and is still affordable to collect. Whether you're building a Lincoln penny set, hunting for rare errors, or just curious about what's in your pocket change, the 1981 penny is a coin you shouldn't ignore. That 1 cent might just be worth a fortune. So next time you get change at the store, look closely. That ordinary penny could be an extraordinary treasure. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about valuable coins hiding in your wallet, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a rare coin update. Let us know in the comments if you found a 1981 Lincoln penny, and we might feature it in our next video. Thanks for watching, and happy treasure hunting! Welcome back, coin lovers and treasure hunters. Today, we're about to embark on an unforgettable journey into the past, exploring a coin that may look small but holds massive historical significance and an even bigger value in the world of numismatics. We're talking about the legendary 1902 1-cent Liberty coin, also known as the 1902 Indian head cent. Yes, this little piece of copper could be hiding in someone's old jar or tucked away in your grandfather's drawer, and it could be worth up to $90,000 today. So grab your magnifying glasses and settle in, because what we're about to reveal might just blow your mind. This is more than a coin, it's a piece of American legacy. The story of the 1902 1-cent Liberty coin begins in a time when America was transforming. It was the early 20th century. The nation was riding the wave of the Industrial Revolution. Cities were growing. Railroads were stretching from coast to coast. And deep in the heart of Philadelphia, a small but mighty coin was being minted that would one day become a collector's dream. But let's rewind just a bit more. The Indian head cent, often called the Liberty cent because of its symbolic design, was first struck in 1859. Designed by James Barton Longacre, this coin wasn't just about currency, it was a powerful symbol of America itself. Now, here's the twist: despite its name, the figure on the obverse isn't a Native American at all. It's actually Lady Liberty wearing a Native American-style feathered headdress, a blend of two powerful American identities: liberty and heritage. For decades, the Indian head cent was used by millions of Americans, from farmers in the fields of Kansas to schoolchildren in New York City. And by 1902, the coin had already become one of the most recognizable pieces in circulation. Let's take a closer look at this numismatic gem. On the obverse, you'll find the left-facing portrait of Liberty, crowned with a feathered headdress, and the words United States of America surrounding her. Beneath her image is the date, 1902. On the reverse, a simple yet elegant design, a wreath of laurel tied with a bow, and at its center, the denomination 1 cent. The coin is composed of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, weighing in at about 3.11 grams. It has a plain edge, and was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, meaning there is no mint mark. Now, you might be thinking this coin was made over 100 years ago. So how is it still around? The answer is simple: survivability and popularity. Over 87 million of these were struck in 1902, making it a common coin in its time. But what makes it rare today is its condition. Now let's get to the juicy part. Not every 1902 1-cent Liberty coin is worth a fortune, but some of them definitely are. In circulated condition, a typical 1902 Indian head cent is worth about $1 to $10, depending on where. But here's where it gets exciting. If your coin is in mint state, things change dramatically. A mint state 60 ms 60 coin can fetch $60 to $100. An ms 65 coin, that jumps to over $1,000. But hold on, are you ready for the shocker? A 1902 Indian head cent graded ms 67 plus red, that's a coin in virtually flawless, gem quality condition, with a rich red copper tone, was sold at auction for a staggering $90,000. Yes, you heard that right. $90,000 for a 1-cent piece. Why? Because of its perfect preservation, vibrant luster, and historical importance. Only a handful of these coins exist in such high grades, making them extremely desirable to collectors. Let's talk about today's market. Coin collecting is more popular than ever. And Indian head cents, especially those from the early 1900s, are seeing a resurgence in demand. According to recent sales, a lightly circulated 1902 Liberty cent might sell for $3 to $15. A brown ms 63 coin, $75 to $150. A red-brown ms 65 coin, $300 to $800. A full red, pristine ms 66 or higher. Expect to pay anywhere between $5,000 and $25,000. And like we said earlier, in ms 67 plus red, this coin has sold for up to $90,000 at top auction houses like Heritage Auctions and Stack's Bowers. Collectors and investors alike are keeping their eyes on coins like this not only for their beauty but for their potential to grow in value. So, what makes the 1902 Liberty cent so valuable? First, condition. The better the grade, the higher the value. Second, color. Indian head cents are graded by color brown BN, red brown RB, and full red RD. Full red coins are rare and highly prized. Third, strike quality. A sharp, bold strike with full details will command higher premiums. Fourth, historical relevance. This coin isn't just copper. It's over 120 years of American history. And finally, scarcity at high grades. While millions were made, only a tiny fraction remain in pristine, untouched condition. So, if you think you might have a 1902 1-cent Liberty coin, here's what to do. 1. Inspect it carefully. Look for details, color, and any damage. 2. Check the grade. If you think it's uncirculated, it might be worth grading. 3. Get it professionally certified by services like Pcgs or NGC. 4. Store it safely. Use coin flips or slabs to prevent damage. 5. Watch the market. Prices fluctuate, and now is a great time to invest in historical coins. The 1902 1-cent Liberty coin may just be a small piece of metal, but it's also a time capsule. A whisper from a bygone era. A treasure that has withstood over a century of change. Whether you're a seasoned numismatist, a casual collector, or someone who just stumbled upon this coin in an old box, remember, you could be holding a piece of history that's worth thousands or even $90,000. So take a second look at that coin jar. Explore your attic. Because sometimes, history and fortune comes in the form of a single, beautiful cent. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the 1902 1-cent Liberty coin, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell for more fascinating coin stories, hidden treasures, and collector tips. Let us know in the comments, have you ever seen a 1902 Liberty cent? Or better yet, do you own one? This is GZ Coins World, signing off. Until next time, keep collecting, keep exploring, and keep discovering history, one coin at a time.